Welcome to Could Be Pretty Cool News, the podcast where we dive into the exciting world of creative entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kacie, and together we'll embark on a journey to explore this dynamic ecosystem from multiple angles, including academia, research and data, community building, and compelling personal narratives from creative entrepreneurs themselves. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered as we uncover the stories and strategies behind building successful creative ventures. It's time to discover why the world of creative entrepreneurship could be pretty cool. Today, we're exploring how a grassroots passion for mushrooms has grown into one of Atlanta's most unique cultural gatherings. Mushrooms might seem like an unlikely catalyst for community building, but in Metro Atlanta, a thriving culture of mycology enthusiasts is proving that fungi can bring people together in surprising ways. From foraging walks to cultivation workshops, mushroom culture runs deeper in Atlanta than many might expect. At the center of this movement is the Atlanta Mushroom Festival, an event that transforms education and curiosity into accessible, community-centered celebration. What started as a niche interest has blossomed into something that makes both the magic and science of fungi available to everyone. Our conversation features Paul Grzybowski and David Claassen, two of the organizers behind the Atlanta Mushroom Festival. Together, they're working to shift perceptions about mushrooms from fear to fascination, creating space for people to learn about everything from culinary applications to the ecological importance of fungi. Let's hear how they're building community around something that grows in the shadows. Okay, on this particular episode of Could Be Pretty Cool News, I have a special privilege of having experienced this particular event that we're going to be discussing, as well as the organization behind it. And even prior to knowing that the Atlanta Mushroom Festival was a thing, I am a self-proclaimed shroomhead. Have been since I was a little kid. I remember getting made fun of for being like the only kid who liked mushrooms on my pizza as like my favorite topping. But besides mushrooms as a food, mushroom culture is something that is surprisingly deep in Metro Atlanta. And so I would love to introduce to you all today two of the folks who are helping to bring mushroom heads and those who are yet to be mushroom heads together here in the city. So thank you so much, David and Paul, for being on the show today.
Hey,
thanks for having us, Kacie.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope we can make a convincing case to all your viewers as to why they should check out the Fungi Kingdom and come out to the festival.
As I'm sure the two of you know, mushrooms kind of a polarizing thing. A lot of people, they love them, they hate them, they don't know. So before we even dive into that, I would love for the two of you to introduce yourselves, give us a little bit of background on how we got to this point.
I'm Dave Claassen. I'm the older of the two, not necessarily the smartest, but I met Paul while I was in the music business, and I was working with a company that worked with songwriters and publishers, Broadcast Music, BMI, and we helped writers sign up to basically get their songs and royalties paid for everything that they wrote when it was percentage-wise of a song. And we got really close with the writers and the labels, the managers, the whole industry as a whole. We were a centerpiece, a sounding board, and also, the connector of dots. In one of these many lunches that I had with songwriters, I was connected to Paul through his, at the time, girlfriend. We met, we became instant friends. And 9 years after that, I asked him for some help with some problems like cancer, and he led me to mushrooms. And we can dive into it later. But my background is music, film, entertainment, live events, and marketing.
Interesting. How about you, Paul?
Yeah, I went to school at Georgia Tech. I got a degree in chemistry. I got a minor in material science engineering and did an undergraduate thesis based on about 2.5 years of synthetic organic chemistry that I was doing in the lab. After that, I ended up getting a job at the CDC in the Division of Tuberculosis Elimination on the applied research team, and was doing whole genome sequencing and spoligotyping, which is an assay where we would genetically barcode TB strains to help local TB controllers in the country be able to identify outbreaks and have better control over those outbreaks. That was during my time in college is when I first got into mushrooms. I grew some psychedelics and it completely changed my mind. Up to that point, I'd never tried anything outside of alcohol and tobacco. And I was very adamant about having control over my experience and wanting to know where it came from and how it was sourced and the intention and the energy of what I was getting into. And the opportunity, just like the universe, just had it fall into my lap. Twice. The first time was a failure. The second time I had success, and it completely changed my mind. And after learning what that one mushroom could do, I was like, what can the rest of this entire biological kingdom that I know absolutely nothing about do? And that's what kind of got me into functional and medicinal mushrooms, edible mushrooms that can be used as food but also as medicine. And that's where this whole journey really started. And then when I was at CDC, I realized that it wasn't going to be my forever job. And I decided I was going to start my first business, Mushroom Kings, which is focused on bringing foraged goods into the city. Stuff that's like really hard to find, very unique, rare, truffles, chicken of the woods, hedgehogs, black trumpets, chanterelles, matsutakes, morels, you name it, I can get my hands on it. But then from there, during COVID, a lot of people were going through some pretty rough places. And I had given Dave an email probably over 10 years ago when we first met back in 2014, when we became friends, about how taking functional mushrooms can help improve your chance of survival through cancer treatment by 50% or more. And so a lot of this knowledge isn't new. We're not preaching a gospel that hasn't already been said. We're just here trying to translate this knowledge from one culture, which in Asian culture in China, they produce 90% of the world's mushroom supply. And so we're taking all of this knowledge that already exists in one part of the world, and we are almost literally translating it into a language and to a structure that people can understand here in our country, here in America. So it's really important, just all the benefits that they can give you. We'll get into that later. I don't want to take up too much of this intro, but that's basically where I come from. I come from this very science forward background, very engineer minded personality. And I'm just really driven by the fact that I've seen mushroom change people's lives. Mushrooms have changed my life. I think Dave can say that mushrooms have positively impacted and changed his life. And
Absolutely.
We just believe that everybody has a right to access this knowledge. Mushrooms are not an ethnic experience, though each culture has their own experience with mushrooms. It is a human experience. Everyone has some relationship with it, and they should learn more about it.
What I love about that, and one of the things that we try to encourage that could be pretty cool, is the cross-pollination of different industries, different professional experiences, because oftentimes we don't think, oh, someone from the music industry and entertainment and film, if they linked up with someone from engineering and chemistry, like they could create this thing. You don't think about that.
You know what's funny? It's Georgia Tech. It's the yin and the yang.
It's fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Opposing forces, yes.
Yeah, it's a one-way rivalry. People from Georgia don't watch. They don't even realize that Georgia Tech's on anywhere. We don't exist, but that's okay.
We managed to coexist because we love each other. We love our community.
It's more than the football, but it is fun every year being able to be able to have a hoorah about the football at least once a year.
But
Last
you look
year
at our
was a good one.
state. Sports is something that people cling to, and that's not even anything we're doing here with the festival. We're giving them knowledge. We're giving them live music. We're giving them food options. We're also giving them a reason to come together. And when we started 4 years ago in a pandemic world, that was something that was quickly lost within the first 2 years. So this is something that we've kindled with the people that we met from the Georgia Mushroom Festival when we originally went out to vend our product, which is Encapsulate. This is why we started our festival. Our supplement was started for a woman with cancer that I asked Paul about. And I said, hey, man, do you think that we could help this person? He said, yeah, we could do that. So we created a product, got it to her. She got healthy, She gave us some biofeedback, and we created a product now that's been reiterated into capsules, into 14 different SKUs that people take as a daily supplement. I took mine this morning. And it's the reason why we actually started a festival, because when we went to Georgia Mushroom Festival, we started selling this product and it sold so well. And we asked everybody, where are you from, by the way? They said, Atlanta, 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 as they say, not Atlanta. And we said, okay, we got to get this thing going. So thankfully, Paul and I were on the same wavelength and we started a festival, which, has become a unique piece of this calendar in the Atlanta calendar. We're semi-annual now. We've gone through 4 iterations, 2 different locations, and we're back in the West End, sponsored by Georgia Grown. And we've got a whole new look and feel, and we're free. The only thing that isn't free is parking, but we have no control of that, but it's going to be under $10. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to talk to you about that. Anyone who has put on any type of event, no matter how big, small, knows that there is a lot of work that goes into the planning, the scheduling, the logistics, in some cases, the permitting, the vending. And so for 2 people who, you said 4 years ago, you decided we're going to start this festival, walk us through that initial journey. Like you said, we are going to start the Atlanta Mushroom Festival. And the first thing we're going to do is...
Yeah. And so it started out radically simple. It was get people to come and buy stuff from vendors and have some music playing in the background. And that was it. And that's how we started. And our very first event, there weren't any educators. There was maybe 20 vendors. And we had Dave, with his ties to music, brought in a whole bunch of really awesome artists who mostly just played for free, because Dave and I have never made a dollar off of this event. And we were able to have just a really popular thing. We probably have 700 people show up for a first time event, which is pretty good. And we didn't have a brand guide. We didn't have a logo, really. Like we just slapped everything together, because we went to Georgia Mushroom Festival in March, and then we had our first festival, I think, July 30th. So March, April, May, June, July. So like we had a very quick turnaround. And then from that, we knew that in order to grow quickly, we needed constant reiterations, because if you only have a festival once a year, it puts a lot of pressure on having that one event go perfectly. The weather being perfect, the timing being good, everyone being available, because everybody's life's happening. So we were doing it quarterly. We were doing it once every 3 months. And so our first year, like we came out the gate and we did 2 events. And then that next year we did 4 events. And the year after that, we did another 4 events. And then it was last year that we decided to only do 3 at Park Tavern. We started noticing, because at the very beginning, we were constantly getting new people coming with very little repeat. Maybe like 20% of our customer base was coming from the previous event to the next one. And then after doing it for a couple of years, we noticed that we were getting some burnout among our customer base, as far as like we're having the event too frequently, and they were opting out of coming because they were like, oh, there's going to be another one. And so it was after we figured that out that it was like, okay, we've hit that critical mass of people that know about what we do and are in our space and love interacting with us. So we can cut back to doing it twice a year. And it's been a really great decision. It's been a lot easier for Dave and I. We've been able to do more planning and have everything be more relaxed, less rushed. But yeah, the first event was just music and vendors. And then we added a couple of hours of talks for the second event, which was mostly just me talking to people and inviting a couple of my friends out to speak. And then slowly started growing it from there. We did live streaming for a little bit. We live streamed the event, which was fun, but it just never really caught a ton of traction. So we moved away from the live streaming, but still record all of our speakers. So everything, all the speakers in our main presentations are recorded. Those talks are uploaded to our YouTube page, because we are just like trying to get the information out there any way possible. So if you're ever interested in checking out the event and just seeing the caliber of people that we have come and speak at this event, you can always go to our YouTube page. You can always check out the music that's on our YouTube page too, because that's generally the same caliber of the music. We were recording that for a long time. So yeah, pretty much if you know nothing about us and you just go to the internet, there is more than enough information to convince you that you should just come.
Yeah. And now that it's free, it's okay, duh. Why wouldn't I? If the weather's better than 50 degrees, I'm going.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
Saturday.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And the whole free thing, when Dave and I were first doing this, we were free because to get a bunch of vendors to show up to a first time event, Dave and I being vendors, we know that's really hard. You're asking someone to pay money to come to something that they're going to put a whole bunch of energy and effort into that they might not make that money back. And so initially it was like, okay, we're here for the vendors. We want everybody to be successful and make money. And so we started it just free, just to get people to show up, just so our vendors could make some cash. And then very quickly from there, it became a part of our movement. It's like we want people to have access to this knowledge. And when you look at the community in the mushroom space, it's mostly white, older white people. Let's just be honest about it. And it's not because it's not inclusive. It's just because a lot of BPOC communities, I don't know if they know much about mushrooms or are comfortable learning more about mushrooms, or maybe they just don't feel invited to the space. And that was where having a free event makes it so that there's no risk at all to show up. You can just come, pop your head in, be like, is this my vibe? And if not, you leave. No harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was where making it free, it gives the community equity in the event. Everyone has an equal access, equal share, equal opportunity, and equal voice in having the mushroom space represent them and their beliefs and their feelings. And we talk about psychedelics. That's obviously a part of the mushroom thing, but that's not the main focus. We talk about food, we talk about medicine, we have demos, we have the CDC come out and give talks about mycotic diseases. We had Emory come out from the Center of Psychedelics and Spirituality. They come out and talk about how they're scientifically trying to marry the idea of spirituality and psychedelic health and being able to have these two things coincide together. You know, we've got KSU talking about this technology that they've made in as a mushroom control system. We have someone from Georgia Tech that's come out and talked about making new mica materials. There's so much going on in this space. And the only way you're going to know is if someone's making this information just like really easy and accessible. And that's what we're trying to do. That's the whole point, is to destigmatize the mushroom kingdom, have people learn more about mushrooms, and to get excited to see friends. We've had people find their best friends. We've had people find their partners. And I'm sure in the future, we're going to have people meet the person they're going to marry at this festival. And so it's really just such a pleasure for me every time to host it and to people watch and to just see the diversity that we have in our little world, and to know that only exists here in Atlanta, that we're the first to do that. And I think that's something that Dave and I are both really proud of.
We're so proud. We get emotional about it.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I would say, having attended the last festival, I went in, it's going to be like some food and some mushroom recipes. I stayed way longer than I thought. I stayed pretty much half the day because of, number one, just the variety of activities, the talks, the performances, I spent so much money, the vendors. But to your point about how this particular festival is so uniquely Atlantan, it was a very everyone says like chill vibe.
But it is chill.
It's chill.
It's chill. It's so chill. It's almost like hilariously stereotypical of what you would think of like mushroom people. Everyone's just, hey, come sit by me. What's your name?
Yeah.
But it was beautiful.
Can I pet your dog?
Basically. Yeah. Which I think, especially in the midst of all the things happening in the world, like, to have spaces like that where you can come and learn, come be with people, come be in community. I think it's a very important and special thing that you all are doing. And I would love to ask you more about the fact that you are making this event accessible to anyone by not having financials be a barrier. And so I would love to know, what is your organizational structure? How do you accept sponsorships? Do you accept donations? How does that piece of it work?
Perfect question, because we just recently announced that we are now a 501c3. We're so thankful. And that really will help us grow and help grow the mission of the nonprofit, which is really to get into schools and educate kids at a young age. So when you talk about destigmifying, 1 in 3 people are mycophobic, fearful of mushrooms. And then Paul often says, name 2 mushrooms. People can name a button mushroom and then maybe a psychedelic. And that's really, we got to change that. So that's our role in educating people, not only with a festival, but with our supplement, with anything that we put out, like a t-shirt. All these things go towards paying for the actual festival to make it accessible, to make it free, and to also make people feel uniquely Atlantan. When we got sued by the Braves over intellectual copyright, that's how you know you're doing something in the community, when the Braves sue you. So we're thankful. We're happy that people are taking notice and they're asking questions, because at the end of the day, it takes about 6 tabling sessions. I tell this to people all the time because we've noticed it from doing tabling for over 4 years. If somebody has no clue about mushrooms and what they can do for their health, inflammation, energy, immunity, and so forth, it takes about 7 tabling sessions of questions and Q&A to really sink in. And holy shiitake moment, now I know what this is. So that's what we're here for. Other than we just love getting together and seeing people blossom. I love when people come up to me and say, hey, where's Paul? I want to give you guys a hug. And they tell me why. And it's just, oh gosh, don't film this.
It's a lot. It is.
lot.
It is a lot. The structure is that Dave and I founded this event, and it was the 2 of us for years. And we would pick up. We have had a couple people work with us for social media to make the content. And then we got pretty proficient with making our own content. And then things were going well. But we finally transitioned from being like a small festival to being a kind of like a mid-sized festival. We're pulling in a few thousand people each event, and we're trying to build this thing to be a 10,000 person event a day. But in doing that, you need real help. You need a graphic designer. Like, I'm good at art, but I am not a graphic designer. So I'm really good at conceptualizing things and having good ideas and color scheme and knowing what would look good and how things compare together. But being able to translate that to a digital art is its own form of artwork and its own mastery of a skill. And we have Melissa Valentine, who's been helping us as our graphic designer and like right hand extraordinaire for everything and anything else that we need. And we've also had several volunteers come up. We've got one of Melissa's friends, Vanessa, comes and volunteers with the event and helps with the vendors every time. And she's a phenomenal human being. We have Sean and Bob Bateman and a whole bunch of my close personal friends, Daniel and Ray. We have a whole community and a whole bunch of Dave's friends that come out of the woodwork and just really day of and just help us to make it run smoothly. The whole ideology behind this festival is that if you make something that is simple, then it should be simple to run. And so for the most part, I let the vendors pick their spots, and it's called first come, first serve. And by doing it that way, I don't have to plan out any of that. And it's all like early bird gets the worm. So for the people who want to put in the effort, they'll show up early and they'll get what they need. And for other people that come a little later, that's okay. And we try to breed a little bit of competition, particularly with the vendors, because spots are limited. And there are a lot of people who are trying to get in with this event. And a part of the nonprofit for the future is to be able to host maybe like an accelerator program or an incubator program, and to be able to take a lot of these vendors who came up during 2020. They came up during COVID. They either lost their jobs or they had less work and they didn't know what else to do. And so they decided, hey, I'm going to go and start this business. And so a lot of those people are just like learning entrepreneurs and are needing a foundation. And this festival has been proving grounds for many of them. Some people make almost like half of their year's supply of money, half of their gross income just from the 2 events that we hold, because it's really successful. There's a lot of amazing things that we're doing, but it's something it's literally just right now, it's just 3 of us and a lot of friends in the community. And that's where, now that we're a nonprofit, like we really need the community to continue to step up, because the more volunteers we have, the smoother everything runs and the less I have to do in order to fix things. And then, or Dave has to do to fix things. And then all of a sudden we can enjoy the event. Instead of just running around like crazy people trying to make sure everybody else is having fun.
Yeah, if someone is a 501c3 specialist specifically with educational nonprofits like us, let's talk. Let's see if you can help us. Let's get through the festival or maybe come attend it and say hello and we'll go from there. We're going to be writing grants. We've got a lot of people that want to help us and expand the vision really. If we can build Atlanta as an incubator hub for a global mushroom initiative, imagine what we can do in other cities. That's the thing is what if someone from London says, we want to have the London Mushroom Festival. Okay, we've got this whole plan. We wrote it out. We've got a board. We've got access to sponsors. These are the people that you need to reach out to. Follow the steps. That's the big overarching goal of the nonprofit is to help other communities do this in their own
Yeah.
town.
So the festival is a product of our nonprofit, the Global Mushroom Initiative.
So this is what we love to hear. We love to hear the origin story to the MVP. Let's get some vendors and play some music to now the grand plan for global
Yeah.
expansion. And I think
Exactly.
having people hear this story, like it is possible. People can do it. I would love to know, as we're wrapping up, what are some of the initiatives or organizations that have helped the two of you as you're developing your business
Oh, yes.
acumen and developing all of these grand plans and things that you're trying to do? I love how you're saying potentially one of your plans is developing an incubator to help others. That for me is a very Atlanta entrepreneurship community thing that I see. It's like as soon as somebody gets on, they're trying to figure out how to get some other people up to where they are and beyond. And yeah, who is helping?
I'll tell you a little bit.
Yeah.
When we started our product, we took it to Georgia Economic Development, and Costa Simoglu said, you need to bring your supplier to Georgia. But the only way you're going to learn how to do that is to learn how to scale. So take your little supplement and go over to the Hatchbridge program at Kennesaw State and go join the incubator program. So Paul and I are about to wrap up. We just did our first presentation and we're about to work on our sales deck. But we've spoken to them and they all agree. Once you guys get your business rolling, then you can use us to help you to help all these other people inside your festival get going. So that's a goal of ours. And I'll let Paul tell you a little more.
Yeah, and I was very blessed that I was a part of the Cole Research Center's Create program. And so that happened probably almost 8 or 9 years ago at this point. And that was a business accelerator class. And so in that class, it was more of a loose structure, but it was more about like tracing a thought experiment of, okay, if you're going to start a business, pitch it. Okay. And then what are you selling? Why are you selling? Who are you selling it to? How are you going to make the product? And then every week it was constant checkup of, okay, did you do the thing that you needed to do? And if so, what are the next steps now? And so that was where I got my start in having some sort of entrepreneurial background. And then coming over now to Hatchbridge is more foundational as far as really teaching you in layman just how to have a sales deck and how to create a landing page and how to analyze like metrics, like what are your North Star metrics? What is your MVP, right? And so it's taking that next layer of
Problem very slowly.
Yeah, because when you start a business, it's like an idea. It's like, how do I create a business model, right? And so step one is create a business model. Create a way that you're going to make money. And so that's what the accelerator program taught me. And then the incubator is, okay, now that you have this idea of how to make money, like here we're going to go into depth and peel back all the layers of that onion of exactly how you're going to get the money from these people. You have the theory, oh, I'm going to offer a product and then or good in service and they're going to pay me for that. It's okay. How do you know who they are? How do you know how you're going to reach them? How are you going to test whether what you're doing is actually working? How do you know if your what metrics are you using to gauge success and whether you're making money, right? Because money is always a lagging indicator of success. You have to be seen before you get paid. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And that's where anybody out there that's an entrepreneur and is looking to up their game, KSU is doing the Hatchbridge Incubator program. It's free. It's a 14-week program. You got to show up every Monday for 14 weeks. That is a challenge. It's because it's all the way up in Kennesaw and traffic is crazy. But I live all the way out in Lilburn, And I drive my hour and 20 minutes up to Kennesaw every Monday. And I will say, hands down, it's like the best experience I could have ever received on how to start a business, how to run a business, how to do everything. And Graham Gintz and Mark, blanking on his last name, but
Freebie.
Mark Freebie. Yeah. They're absolutely amazing. They run the program. They have a beautiful building. They just opened it. They had a grand opening a few weeks ago. It's amazing. They're just great guys. And they're the type of guys, you can get their phone number, give them a call, send them a text, be like, hey, this is the type of problem I'm facing. How should I think about it? And that's really the one thing that Mark and Graham really constantly are talking about is it's not how you solve the problem, it's the types of questions you're asking. You need to, if you're going to be a great business person, you need to start asking really hard questions. Because when you ask those very specific, very hard questions, it forces you to find the answer. And that answer is going to always take your business from wherever it's at to where you're hoping it's going to be, where you want it to be. It's almost like an engineering course. It's teaching you how to think, not just like what to do, but also how to think about what to do. So yeah. They're awesome. It's great.
Highly recommended. And it's free.
It's free.
And the reason it's free is Georgia Economic Development looks at it like this. We'll pay for your little thing. You teach all these wonderful founders how to do business. Because if one of them hires 20 employees, the whole program's paid for.
And I can think of no better metaphor for what you all are doing than the mush. Like you're planting it and it's just growing and it's blooming everywhere and it's crazy. That may not be how mushrooms work. Don't be mad at me.
Well, it's great.
It's absolutely how mushrooms work.
We're one of 3 mushroom businesses in the incubator program. It's wild.
I am excited about everything that is going on. Yes, could be pretty cool. Will definitely be in the building on November 22nd. And can you tell folks a little bit more about the upcoming festival, how they can find out more about what you guys have going on year round, any other ways to reach and contact you, all that good stuff?
AtlantaMushroomFestival.com or Instagram, Atlanta Mushroom Festival, or ATL Mushroom Festival on Twitter, X, and we're also on Facebook, Atlanta Mushroom Festival. And you can sign up if you want to be a volunteer. We're accepting volunteers right now. And you can sign up, you get a t-shirt, get some coupons to get a mushroom beer, some food or whatever. And you learn what's going on during your shift, but you also get to meet other people. So it's fun. If you want to be a volunteer, we'll take you. So check it out online.
Yeah, the volunteering really is just people being in the room, enjoying the space and being there in case someone needs help hooking up a PowerPoint, or like plugging it in, making sure internet's connected. Like it's really we're not asking people to do a ton. We do have a merch booth and we do ask volunteers, like if there's anybody who likes selling merch and enjoys like having that interaction, that interpersonal interaction with attendees and doing like the people watching and getting just to see all the different people that come and hang out at the festival. That's amazing. But a lot of what we're asking for is just people to be around the music space so that if a mic drops, they can pick it up. You know what I mean? If a speaker is transitioning, that you're there just in case they have some sort of technical issue and you can just be a body to plug in the thing, restart the computer, try it again. We're not really asking for a ton out of folks. And to be fair, like you're going to come and listen to the speakers anyway.
Might as well get a free t-shirt.
You might as well get a free t-shirt for doing it and just be part of the community and just help the event run smoothly. So we're not asking for a lot. We're just asking for people to show up and help us out.
Amazing. Folks, whether you are interested in volunteering, coming to check out all of the festivities, whether or not you think that, oh, should I go? I don't know. Do I know anything about mushrooms? Like, it's such a vibe and highly recommended. Thank you both so much for coming to chat both about your entrepreneurship journey, this incredible festival, all the things that you are doing for the community. And we're looking forward to
Thank you, Kacie. Thank you for your time. And we appreciate your audience sharing this with us.
Yeah. And our next event will be March 21st. That'll be the next Atlanta Mushroom Festival in 2026. Right now, we're really just dead set on November 22nd and just trying to get people to show up. I'm in the middle of making this really cool art structure for the Mushroom Festival that'll be there. People can take pictures with it. It's going to be super cool. We'll be the only Mushroom Festival probably in the world that has something like this. That's been a big part of what we've been doing, is just like Atlanta is such a unique city. Atlanta influences everything. Dave says it all the time. I see it and I believe in it. And we want to keep doing things that other people aren't doing, like making a free event, like offering all of this stuff, all this knowledge, and putting all of these resources online so people can have access to it. Nobody's really doing that. Having cool art that helps people become more integrated and want to learn more, and just finding that natural kind of childlike inquisitive nature that exists within the adults that are bound to the structure of organized life, right? Like, you got to break out of the mold every once in a while and just be like, wow, what's it like just to look at something and be like, how does that work? How did they do that? And then to have the opportunity to learn firsthand and to rekindle that love of learning. So that's at the core, just what we're trying to do. We're trying to break barriers. We're trying to expand people's minds. And I will say that the reason why our vibe is so chill is because the people that come to our event are coming to learn. They're not coming to tell us what they know unless they're a speaker. The people who are coming, these are not your typical Americans that want to that already know. We've already seen what the already know people are doing to the world right now, and it's not okay. We need to go back to science. We need to go back to being open-minded. And that's who shows up at our festival. Our festival is full of people that are like, I don't know something and I want to know more about it. And you can dip your toes. You don't have to, you can spend your whole day listening to music and then see one talk and be like, wow, that one talk, I learned something. And that's a great way to spend your time at the festival. Or you could go and listen, do every workshop and be a part of every single activity and be like, holy crap, I learned more about mushrooms today than I ever have in my entire 12 years of schooling, than I ever did in college, than I ever did from anything, a movie, anything, anywhere. And so we're trying to we're breaking molds, we're breaking boundaries, we're breaking it down so people can get down with us and really understand how fun it is to learn.
Lots of hugs
with us. Yeah,
lots of hugs.
Bring some mush hugs. We got a little costume competition. I got people getting excited, dressing up in mushrooms. I'm gonna get silly. I'll dress up a little bit too. It'll be a good time. Yeah. It'll be a good time.
So stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you there.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Until next time, we encourage you to continue nurturing your process. Farewell, and may all of your creative endeavors flourish. Could Be Pretty Cool News is a Could Be Pretty Cool original production. Created, hosted, and executive produced by Kacie Luaders. Senior producer is Liz Moore, and supervising sound editor is Trinity Jackson. Our original theme music was composed by Camille Stennis and cover art design by AJ Johnson. To learn more about Could Be Pretty Cool and discover whatever else we're up to, visit us at couldbeprettycool.substack.com. Thank you for listening.